Hey, wasn't that pleasant? Welcome to the Hybrid
I
Live
feel
Show.
like I'm in a meditation video or something. That was lovely.
You feel like you're in a what?
A meditation video, like they're
So,
just going through the universe. It was lovely.
hey man, maybe that's next for me. Maybe that's just like is doing meditation videos.
Perfect. Yeah, the voice for it.
My wife and I often nap to those. We like put it
Yeah.
on the YouTube screen. So welcome everybody. This is the Hybrid Live Show. Cheryl Snow is here from Las Vegas. Greyson will be joining us shortly. No Dave this week. Dave is working extra late, and so he's not going to make it, but he'll probably be listening in the car and probably comment or yell at me at some point because that's what he does.
Rage.
He'll probably rage at me. But we do have a few things to talk about. And I think we're going to save I think a lot of the HYROX chat for Greyson because there's something that came up at the end of the show last week for Cheryl and I, and this is one of those opportunities where if you don't want Severance spoiled or you're not interested at all, you can leave for a while and come back. It's totally fine. I'm totally okay with that because Severance has been a life-changing television program for me in the last, like I can't think of a show I've been as interested in recent, and we watch a lot of shows. My wife and I watch a lot of good stuff, but I was really taken in by Severance the first season, and then I think last year I caught it after it was over, but this time we watched it every week. And so every week seemed like forever. And I'm so trained to starting on Fridays that even the last 2 weeks when my wife and I were getting ready to watch White Lotus, I was like, "Hey, it's Friday, it's 9 o'clock," and then and then I'd be like, "Oh, it's not. That's White Lotus is Sundays, Severance is Friday." So anyway, um, you we where we finished last week was you said never trust an innie. What did you say?
I just think that they're inherently dangerous. That's
Inherently
all.
used. Also, since then, t-shirt idea I thought of while I was dying during my 5K, which we should also talk about, my birthday
Yes.
5K, which
Yes.
is a shirt that says my innie is much faster. What do you think about that for a cool running shirt?
I think that's a good running shirt. I think there are lots of good innie shirts that you can do, and that's a really good one.
Right.
So
Well, my wife bought me this amazing Lumen shirt for my birthday, and
I saw it.
I was so excited to wear it. And then I just had the thought while I was dying. Yeah. What if you could like what if you because remember what's his name even says what does he say? He says, "Ooh, my Audi must be a bodybuilder. My delts are really hurting today." Remember
Yeah. Yeah. Dylan.
Dylan? But it was probably just from carrying his kids or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the shirt Stacy got me, which I was
Macro
so
data refinement, right?
macro data refinement. The work is mysterious and important.
Yeah. It is. It is.
Um, so I guess that would be the first thing is the first season. This whole time they're doing those numbers. How invested were you in like what are they actually doing with those numbers?
I didn't care. I kind of don't care about getting into the weeds like that. And I know people like do freeze frames and they like look at all the stuff and you know what I mean? Like the newspaper articles and all that kind of thing. I just thought the whole concept was bonkers and I loved watching them interact. Like just having a weird job where you're not quite sure what you're doing, but just loving the people you work with. Like I can totally relate to that. So I was on a fairly shallow level, especially during the first season. I just enjoyed, Bert and Irving. I enjoyed, all that kind of stuff, like just all the office interaction. You're walking through the halls and you find the goats and you're like, yeah, okay, somehow this makes sense, but you don't really worry about it. That felt very real to me. So I really like that. So how about you?
Well,
Tell me what really got you about this show.
well, I mean, obviously, like stylistically, it's done like they spent a lot of money to make this show look really, really fucking cool, right? And I like a show that or a movie when it's done well that brings you into a world and doesn't really hold your hand, where you kind of have to catch up and figure it out, and then it's fun in figuring out, and then that is like that adds to the rewatchability
Mm.
to it because now you're learning more. You don't ever have to get into like the deep weeds. I watch a lot of videos, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watched something called New Rock Stars, which really like we're going to break down every scene in this episode. And so the YouTube video is probably almost as long as the episode. And I like watching those at about 1.5 times speed because it's fun. But I'm fine if but I don't have to understand that stuff necessarily. But when you're brought into this world and you're just like, you don't know, you don't know what the severance procedure is. Like I didn't look at a trailer. I just heard here's this cool show, and they're just bringing you into that world, and then you're kind of figuring out as you go along who these other characters. Yeah, because the show just starts with this woman on a table. You're not like, you know what I mean, and you have no idea who that person is, that character. Saving a spoiler, I guess, until like the end of the season, like who even that person is. So I really liked that. I liked that. I I liked kind of the mystery of like what decade are we in? Like this is high tech and low tech at the same time. Like they just created a tone that's never been done.
Mhm. Agreed. And honestly, sure, she's on the table and we don't know who she is, but isn't that just every first day at work? Like
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was the whole thing was like, oh, what about what a statement on what is work and what
Yeah,
is work life balance and who are we at work and who are we if we're not who we say we are at work and like all that stuff. And yeah, I wasn't that concerned
yeah,
with the numbers and what they actually turned out to be like it's the problem or a criticism that what they call these puzzle box shows have is that once you've kind of relieved like revealed some of the puzzle, you've taken away a lot of the value. So they say like on these shows like Lost, which I never got into, had a hard time with. Like later seasons get harder and harder because you can't just keep unboxing the mystery over and over again or adding new wrinkles.
right. But the problem with Lost was it was just so poorly written after like the first season or two. It
People
just
worship that show.
what's that?
People worship that
I
show.
know they do, and they don't. The first season was great. I don't waste your time on the rest of it. Just the story kind of fell apart, and I feel like this show. I don't think we need the box to be opened. I think that they're just exploring different aspects of all of this that then become intriguing because I felt like the first season was just about work and what work is actually like. Um, the second season for me is a lot about just what a bad idea it would be for us to separate out parts of ourselves, right? Like it if I only ever, if I separated just my workouts, how miserable would I be all the time just working out, right? Like the great part about working out is being done with it and being able to reflect upon it and think about how I overcame things or, how I could do things different. And all that goes away if you want to separate out pain in your life and not be able to deal with it. And I just think it gives me a lot of reflection, I think. And so do I need to know what the numbers do and how all this works? No, I think I'm still really intrigued just by the idea of this company that's trying to sell this idea of you don't have to feel pain. You don't have to feel discomfort and if and try to sell that to all of us as a good idea when it's clearly not.
Yeah, and I think that's where part of it can get lost is like how deep you want to go, like this whole like history of this company, and it turns out like it's the whole town. And is it actually a cult because it's got these weird old white guys, and like it kind of gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's like I don't know if I'm just interested in that nearly as much as the four versions of Mark and Helly and how they all interact. Like that was amazing.
Yes. And the conversation, the very last episode between the two Marks, I thought was absolutely brilliant. Right? When you think, oh, this person's going to agree with me. right? Like this person's going to see my side of it and they're going to be willing to do whatever I want. And you realize, no, all of us have our different perspectives and our different ideas about what's best. And when you have somebody who has such a limited view of the world, they're not going to see the big picture, and it's going to be really hard to get them to do what you want them to do.
I got to be honest, at first, when they talked to each other, I thought this is super cool. And then there was a part where I was like, "Oh God, how long are they going to do this with the turning around of the camera?" And then when I kind of saw where it was going, which was like, "Oh, like this guy doesn't respect me at all, and why should I listen to him?"
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of skipping ahead, that he was going to do like the right thing because he thought right.
Mm-hmm.
But then he turned around and saw Helly, and it was like, oh yeah, that's the person I really like. What do I give a shit about this woman across the glass?
Exactly.
She
No,
looks nice. She looks nice enough, but
yeah, I don't know. I think for these innies, like whatever's right in front of them, right? They just can't. He
well,
has no grand perspective on
right.
things.
Okay, so here's the thing I didn't say at the end of the last show, that I thought, so I wasn't even sure there was another season until everybody started talking after the show how there was another season. And so I thought it's possible that they just destroy the entire building, right? Like, what's his name? The creepy doctor says you'll kill them all. And when the goes off, Milchick's face is kind of like, oh fuck. Like I thought, like, oh, they're just gonna destroy all the evidence, right?
Oh, okay.
And so,
Just burn it to the ground.
yeah, everybody dies. And
Mhm.
so them two running off is kind of like, we might be dead in 5 minutes, but for now we're together, right? When they run off into the sunset there, right?
Mhm.
So then it's like, okay, well, they're definitely coming back. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, again, this sounds like I hate to be such a buzzkill here, but if they just point a gun to Mark's head and say, get back in the elevator, once he goes up, he's never coming down again.
Right.
So that would be the end. That would be it.
Yeah.
So
It's
that sort of ends the story. So how are they going to come back from that?
maybe because he's sweet on Helena Egan. Like she's clearly has an interest in this, and
No, no,
so
no. But I'm saying once he's back up and he's
yeah.
reunited with the person he thought was dead, he's never going underneath ever
Oh,
again.
but he personally won't choose to.
Why
Yeah,
would he ever get back in the elevator ever again?
you're right. Yeah, no,
End of
okay.
show.
They're doomed. Let's face it, they're doomed. And I
So
kind
how
of
are they
love.
gonna? So how are we gonna have another season? Again, someone said like, well, he rescued her this season. He rescued his wife, and now this next season, she would have to somehow get him out, right? If
That
he's
sounds
down,
kind of boring. I don't know. I,
right,
yeah,
right.
I guess we'll have to see. I trust them. Look what they did with the story this season. Let's trust them. Let's trust it's going
Well,
to be
that's
good.
very. That's a very. I'm just saying, like, this idea of these, like, I would have been fine if they did end the show. Like, we don't
Mhm.
know what's going to happen to them. Like,
Right.
maybe the building's going to be burned down. Maybe they're going to kill them down there. We don't know. We just know that this guy chooses her, right?
Mhm.
Chooses Helly R.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of doomed relationships and sad endings.
But you're in like a 20-year relationship, 30-year relationship, aren't you?
Yeah, it doesn't mean I don't like an interesting story.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. No, so I look, I don't know where they're going to go. I am just appreciative of where they've been, and I really just love the fact that they held up the second season as well as they did. So we're talking about Severance, and Matt just loves it. Matt, tell me why this changed your life. Like, why is this such an important show that you're taking time on a hybrid fitness media podcast to talk about it?
Didn't we already cover that?
I just didn't know. Okay, you don't have anything more to. Okay, you just really liked it.
Yeah. That was the first question you asked me. You said what was it that you liked about the show?
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I just the whole thing's very intriguing, and I'm grateful I got to see it. I don't know if you did this, but before the second season, we binge watched the first, to get up, and I'm looking forward to binge watching the first and the second before the third, right? Just to get up to speed.
Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll just watch the finale to
Mhm.
catch up. sometimes
Mhm,
I'll just be like, "Well, hey, they're gonna do the previously on. Let's just watch the 10 minutes of that,"
mm.
depending on the show and how long it's been. Did you watch White Lotus by chance, which just ended last night?
Yeah, I didn't see the last one yet.
Oh,
I have yet to see the last
I should have made you watch it. I guess that'll give us something to talk about next week.
yeah, okay. That's kind of fun and dark too, so, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
in a totally different way, but again, even that, like, again, you asked me, like, why it's so again, I feel like, uh, the, uh the attention to detail is so strong. If you don't realize it all in real time, that's fine because that's when something's done really well, you don't have to necessarily notice it. Like, I didn't notice all the shit that was in Patricia Arquette's little shrine. I didn't notice all that stuff until they
yeah,
talked about it later, what it actually was.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I when it's that much like I said, when that much care is put into a tone and it's pull off because if you do it lame, it's just lame. If you do it which so many shows do it poorly, right?
right.
So yeah, that's why I really liked it. So, again, we'll see if they can live up to it next season.
Yeah, high quality, thought-provoking story. I just really, really, Heliar is my favorite person ever.
Really.
Yeah, I just love how just young and impulsive she is, and wouldn't that be nice if none of us had any of the baggage we did and we could just react, right? I think she does a really good job of that. Sometimes I think that would make me younger if I did that.
Well, that was okay, so that was another question I did have was that Milchek is, like, pushing back a little bit, like, on this season,
Mhm.
but then at the end, he was, like, defender defender of, uh, of Lumen.
I think he's doing his job. I think don't you ever get conflicted like that? Like, you try to be a good company man, but you get sick and tired of your boss and you tell him to devour feculence, right? So,
Right, but by the end, he was still defending them. They had to bash him in the head with a fucking trombone to get him to stop.
yeah, I think when you get locked in a bathroom by one of your underlings, you're probably gonna try to be a good manager after that.
Okay. What did you make of the 2 Dylans, though?
I loved that conversation. I really loved that. And I love the fact that you can be a person who's just into finger traps and erasers, right? Like that's all that matters to you is just getting the stupid little prizes until you find out you've got a kid, right? Like all of a sudden your world just gets so big and he just wants to love people so much, you know? I just feel so bad for him that he's just so lonely down there. Um, I love the fact that I feel like he knows now that the people that he can love are the people at his job, and I think there's something to be said for that too.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was handled really well because I wasn't sure where that was gonna
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
But I thought yeah, I thought that went really well.
It's almost like they're both cool, right? Like the Outie Dylan's actually really cool in his own way, and the Innie Dylan just doesn't have all that baggage. So then
But the Audi's he's a little lazy. He's, like, barely
oh,
helping with the
he's got
kids
problems.
and
He definitely has, and I think that's the thing. I mean, when you have the burden of your whole life, you end up depressed, alcoholic, lazy, miserable, right? If you take all that away and you just have your job, and then it's just the finger traps and the erasers, right? Like life gets so simple,
I
and I
know, but
like
just
that too.
but the concept of you go into the elevator, it's 5:10, and you wake up and the door's open. Like, I that seems like the painful part,
A sense of it's absolute torture. Those people
right?
are slaves down there, right? Like,
Literally, right?
yeah, literally slaves. Yeah, yeah. Or, I mean, to Gemma's, I mean, how many personalities does she have down there where one of them only goes to
Oh,
the
boy.
dentist, one of them only goes on an airline that is crashing? Like, talk about it.
Only one of them has to just write 10,000 Christmas cards.
Right. And they ask her just in passing, like, what was it? Would you rather drown or smother or something like that? And she has to pick what's worse, And so you think, are they going to make a program where she's going to have to do that now? Like, it just seems absolutely horrific what they're doing to people.
Do
So
do you think we will see Irving again?
I hope so. I loved Burton Irving. I loved that, and I think Irving is uh, is investigating more than we realize he is, and I think he'll probably be back. I think it's going to be kind of a Han Solo. He'll sweep in and He'll sweep in and save the day. That's
All
what I
right.
hope. I've heard that it's just that they can't get John Turturro, so they're having a hard time.
Right. That's what I think too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope he makes it back.
Yeah.
All right. So, what would you like to talk about next?
I want to talk about your birthday because you had a good
Okay.
birthday weekend. You're wearing a nice post-birthday shirt.
How can you tell? How can you
Yeah, it's
tell?
nice, right? And I think we've known each other for 2 years.
Yes.
And when we first talked, it was around your birthday, and you were kind of talking about getting back into shape. And now here you are, this lean, mean, like you took your wife to a gym this weekend, practice for a HYROX doubles. Like, what has this sport done for you? How are you different than you were 2 years ago?
Well, I'd say it's yes and no, because before I first of all, my we're pretty chill. The whole me and Stacy and the kids were all pretty chill. Like around holiday, we don't like when people go, "What are you doing for the holidays?" It's like we're hanging out. Like we don't do big, right? My birthday, I know that we're gonna do cake and ice cream, and the kids are gonna make cards for me, or maybe not, but one of them will, or whatever. And I was like, "Hey, Stacy, I found a race Clayton and I are gonna run." So I know that's usually around the time we would do cake. So if we're gonna do it, let's do it earlier. And she's like, "That's fine." Um, and so we did, and it was great. And uh, Clayton and I do this 5K that we did a couple years ago in this. It's like a cemetery. It's called Run Like Hell. And uh, I was like, I know Clayton's faster than me, but I'll see if I can do like 24 something minutes, right? Because I think that's like the fastest I've gone. Like I could probably do that. I did Garfield's 5K and it was 27. I don't know what it was. Anyway, the point is, I thought for some reason in my head, I thought I should do 8 minutes instead of 9. And so I started out at 8 minute pace. We were running downhill, so it was a 7:30. And at one point, we got to a hill, and I was like gassed. It was 4 o'clock. The sun was on me. It was 0.55 into the race, and Clayton came by me, and I was walking by mile 2. And I finished this 5K in. At one point, I thought if I can beat 30, it would be nice. It was a 34, I think.
All right.
So I ran a 5K in October. That was. Let's just look at it. Just let me just look at it real quick.
Okay. In the afternoon in Georgia. Good heavens.
Yeah, but that's really that. I wish that could be my only excuse. I'm at least 5 pounds heavier and maybe more. I ran incredibly slow and I was completely beating myself up over it. And I was like, okay, that's it. No more fucking around with food. And that's what this 2-year journey is for me. Is like I stopped weighing myself, thankfully. Dave Claxton would always tell me about to stop weighing myself, and I have, but I'm just super up and down with my food choices. So Saturday, I'm going to take Stacy to this place called Union Performance Academy, which actually had 2 weeks in a row had a front half of HYROX and a back half of HYROX. We were supposed to go to the back of HYROX last week. I didn't go. So it's like I messaged the guy. I said, "Hey, can we just do like open gym?" So you don't know how much you don't know. One does not know how much knowledge they have until they begin to teach it. Because I consider myself on the, beginner end of HYROX, but my wife doesn't know anything. So I was telling her all the things that I've learned, right? She's like never touched a ski erg, right? Just like I had at one point. And so she has not been running, and her coach gave her she talked to her coach a couple months ago and said, "Hey, can you give me some specific HYROX training, including some more running?" But I said, "Have you been running much?" She's like, "No." And so I think we were going to walk a lot more than I thought, and that's fine. Like I knew we would go slow, but now I think we're going to walk a lot because I only made us do 500s. I didn't even do thousands.
Mm-hmm.
We did 500 with the ski erg. We did 500. We did the push and the pull. We did 500 more, and I think that was the last time we ran. I was like, I'm not going to make her keep running. And so I just gave her a little bit of all the stations, and it took about an hour all in. And like she's never thrown a wall ball. So her wall ball form is horrible.
Mhm.
And so it was like, I was like, all right, well, let's not get it all the way up there. Let's just catch and release for a minute, right? Let's just do that. Um, oh, looks like we're getting another guest. Hey, Grayson, we're talking about me teaching my wife how to HYROX.
Hey, all right.
So, um, the sled, I'm really hoping it was extra drag on that sled because she could barely move it. Like I forgot that like it's men's open for mixed, right?
That's women's pro. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big.
And so I was like, and she's like, again, she's strong. Like she's really strong. But like the push was not good for her. The pull was fine, right? But the
Mhm.
push was not.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, I kind of showed her to like push it with her shoulders and not her arms, and she's like, I don't like it that way at all. And so I am gonna end up doing a lot of the push, I think. But
Mhm.
it's all fine. Like it's all fine. You know what I mean? Um, and so, like I said, I think the running is gonna tax her more than I thought because I just kind of forgot. Like, again, like when you just do this stuff all the time, you're just like used to it. You're like, oh, you can run 5 miles. What's the problem? Like, I don't think she's even done the math that it's 5 miles, right? And I'm not going to let her figure that out. You know what I mean? So,
Pack a lot of food, Matt. She's gonna need
well,
snacks.
we talked about that.
Mhm.
We definitely talked about that. And she's my age and has different, has some tweaks and whatever. But I'm
Mhm.
trying to think about which station like lunges were fine. Um, her burpee broad jump form was like pretty good right away. I mean, I don't think she could put her I was trying to get her to put her hands where her feet are, and she kind of wasn't grasping that part. I'm like, all right, hopefully we'll have a good judge or an easy judge that doesn't sweat that. Like she wasn't flat out falling forward, but just wasn't like I know, like you saw my burpee broad jump was pretty good.
Mhm.
Um, she's just not there. And um, everything else was like, oh, okay, cool. Like just touching the machines when you've not touched them in a long. I mean, she's rode, but she's never skied. She's never touched a sled. Like I said, I don't think she's ever thrown a wall ball. And she's like, well, let's go back. Like, let's go back next week. I said, we could also practice in the backyard. You know what I mean? Like I do have a wall ball for us to mess around with. I don't have a sled. But yeah, it was fun. And at one point I said to her, cause I'm concerned. I'm like, honey, if you don't want to do this, just tell me. Like, I want you to do this with you, but if you don't, she's like, no, honey, I do. Like, I am going to hate the running, but we'll walk a lot. And I'm like, okay, cool. So that's where we're at with that.
You guys will have a great experience, but I will say, I think the sled, it's not even so much. I mean, of course she's strong, but it's just a skill, right? To be able to learn how to move that thing.
But see, this gets back to the HYROX is for everybody, like new people. And Stacy was saying that too. Stacy was like, I am a gym person. You
Right.
know what I mean? My wife is in the gym 5 days a week. My
Mhm.
wife is coaching people tonight, right now, right? And she's
Hey,
like,
does
go ahead.
does HYROX say that HYROX is for everybody? I haven't heard. Have I heard
That's
that's
their
something they say?
tagline. That's their tagline.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
How have I not seen
HYROX is
that?
for everybody. Now, I came off my first race. I've told the story 100 times. January 2020, and I said to them, "No, those sleds are really fucking heavy. You can't do that. A normal person off the gym can't do that, or off the street can't do that." And they're like, "Oh, you just do doubles or relays." It's like, no, no, no. It doesn't work that way. Now,
HYROX
listen,
HYROX is for everybody once you've hired me to coach you for a year. And
right
then you're then you're
now,
ready. Then you're everybody.
now,
Yeah.
having said that, as I said to my wife, they are too busy printing money to worry about it. But in a few years, when registrations slow down, maybe that's when we get the half rocks, the rocks light, the whatever. Because yeah, it's like, yeah, a wall ball, like we don't think about it because we just do it all the time. But the wall ball is a complex movement, right? My wife was just kind of jumping and tossing it, and like she know what the fuck, you know what I mean? And again, that's what I look like when I started because you're not your brain. And again, she's a very fit woman, so um,
Mhm.
so yeah, so just she already feels better just touching the stuff, and I said, and again, I think the turf is a little tough where we were. I think it'll be easier. I wish we got the brand new ones, which we won't in Atlanta, but I think it'll be a little bit easier. Um, and I said, yeah, listen, and another thing about Stacy, she's not thrilled on crowds. Like, we don't really go to concerts and stuff, and it is a lot, and I've kind of warned her. I said, it is
music and
yeah, it's a lot, and that stuff gets to me sometimes too.
yeah.
But at HYROX, it's never bothered me, but, like, I've been like, I went to this coffee shop the other day, and I guess it was a private event, and the music was fucking blaring, and I just, like, turned around and walk out. I was like, "I can't deal with that." So, but I think that part might take her a minute, because I kinda forgot that about her too, but I also think it's not gonna be too bad. Like, Sunday hasn't even sold out yet. So Sunday might look like even lighter than Vegas Sunday for you and I, Cheryl. You know what I mean? It won't be
So you guys are doing Sunday.
yeah, it won't be like Glasgow asses to elbows kind of a situation. So I think we'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm just so excited. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just it's and like then we end up spending the day together. I mean, people that have kids, you know, like, you might not spend a lot of time with your significant other, because, like, you're doing kid shit, and then you just want your own time. So you asked me about my birthday, and this wasn't even the plan, but so what ended up happening was, my wife found some patio furniture on Facebook for our new little shed thing in the back. So, like, we went and got that afterwards. Well, we got coffee, we had lunch, we went and got the thing. We had a nice time together, and you know, she packed a lot of good snacks, and I have a great wife. What can I say?
Well, you have a great wife, because she has agreed to do mixed doubles as her first HYROX, which is super hard, because she is going to be doing women's pro rate. Like, she could have picked a friend to do female open.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I think she wouldn't do it without me, but she'd also, it's like, cause I said to her, I go, listen, like, she used to do a couple OCRs with me, but at the end of the day, it's like, you're getting dirty. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really her bag. I mean, she did it with me because it was fun.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what I mean? And we had a great time, but I think this will be much more in her wheelhouse. Again, when I saw when it kind of dawned on me, like, God, this is a lot of running, I kind of was like, oh, DEKA Fit might have been an easier way to get her
in. Much better entry point. DEKA Mile, right? Do a DEKA Mile teams, and you've got she would knock that out of the park.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think she'd have to work on her stepping over the boxes form, because, again, that's not really natural.
Or you could do that one.
Oh, do you not trade off mid?
No, you don't have to.
DEKA? No, you can
do the whole station.
Matt, you could probably do an entire social media post that just said, like, how did HYROX doubles affect your relationship? And see, because when we're out there, you can see all sorts of stuff happening with people. Like, you've got couples that are, like, running together and they're so happy, and then you've got the classic, like, one person is running into the rock zone on, like, too early, and the other person's like, "Where you going? Get back here!" So you could do a whole segment on just, like, co-ed doubles relationship stories, and see, you know, did it make your relationship better? Did it make it worse? Did you figure some things out about each other? You might be on that path right now.
So the whole weekend that my husband judges, he's on the judging WhatsApp, you know, group chat, right? So he knows what's going on during the entire race, you know, where they need to clean up the vomit in lunges, or, you know, what you see, all this kind of stuff. And my favorite one from DC was this woman's partner quit on her, and she's just going to finish the race anyway. Good for her, right? Good. Like, I paid my money. I'm just going to do this. So yeah, she just left her partner, took off.
Well, you guys have probably heard this phrase before. And the way I was taught it is everything, 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 which means how you show up somewhere is how you show up everywhere. So yeah, anything you do with your partner is, you know, could be like how you show up around your relationship. And I'm a much better partner than I was 10 years ago. I'm way more patient. I'm way more, I mean, I just think the beauty of getting older, Cheryl, is you just realize what's important in life and how nothing fucking matters. You know what I mean? So you just, so many things I just take, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get upset on the road, like, ever anymore. And I know people, it's like a common thing with people, like, oh, I lost my temper on the road. And I'm just like, I'm just not in a hurry to be anywhere anymore. I don't know. I just like, okay, you go. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not about the finger traps, right? Like, you see the bigger picture.
Right. So we're definitely not the type that's going to be fighting during it. Like, I told you to push harder, like that. And that's neither of us.
No. But I think it's so cute. Here's the thing. So I will reflect back, given that we talked the first time when it was around your birthday, and you asked me what like my DEKA strong time was or something like that, and you didn't even know if that was a good time. Like you didn't know anything about this world, right? Like you were just kind of getting into it, and you didn't know everything. And now here you are showing her your world. Like this is this whole weird thing that we do, and I just loved it. So yeah, easy to have happen.
Yeah, Yeaton says I witnessed a domestic battery at the farmer's carry while judging.
So
by the way, we've gotten a few comments, by the way, from judging, from people. I got a really super long one. I don't even know if I can read the whole thing. I probably can't even find it now. But somebody said, was it Yeaton that said you decided to volunteer based on our conversation? So way to go, us. Way to inspire us. That was a comment from a previous chat. But you had something I think that you wanted to talk about. Unless you had more questions about my birthday weekend. And thanks for noticing I'm wearing a new shirt.
No problem. I'm good.
I'm not someone that like ever shops for myself. My wife got me this one, but I'm not someone that ever shops for myself. And I went to I had an eye doctor appointment, and I walked into this store, this place called Pont City Market, which is like the fancy schmancy stores around here, people who live in Atlanta. So if you're visiting Atlanta and you want to go to some fancy schmancy stores, go to Pont City Market. And I saw this store I'd never heard of, and it's like, well, it was blah blah and blah blah men's, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna walk into blah blah men's. I never buy myself a fucking shirt, and I found this shirt I really liked, and I was like, $89. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever bought a $9 shirt in my life. I was like, you know what? It's my birthday. I'm buying myself this goddamn shirt. And then I walk into the thing, and I go, he goes, are you on our email list? And I'm like, no, and like thinking like there's no. He's like, well, we send you stuff like discounts on your birthday, and I go, today's my birthday. I said, what do I get? He's like, $25 off. I'm like, fucking score. So, big. Oh, and then I went to Starbucks again, not even thinking about it. And I went to pay with my app, and it's like, hey, it's your birthday. You got a free coffee. So be out in the world on your birthday. That's my lesson. You'll get some nice bennies.
Sounds like you had a good weekend.
I did. I really did.
Love it.
And again, I'm not someone that's like, here's my birthday weekend. That's not really the kind of guy I am, but my birthday fell on a Saturday this year, and it was. So there you go. So what did you tell me you wanted to talk about, Greyson? You had a list you gave me. Let me pull it up here.
Ooh.
Oh, I had a few.
Are
ideas.
These
maybe share?
So do's and don'ts for race travel weekend? You want to cover that one?
Yeah. Hey, this is a live show, man. I thought it'd be a good conversation. I could ask Cheryl a few questions.
Cheryl's done a lot of
people to write in.
Cheryl's done a lot of traveling.
Yes, she has. When you go to, this is what I've noticed, when you go to a HYROX specifically and some DEKA events, you see people who may be getting into racing like for the very first time. And as someone who's been racing for like forever, there's just little thoughts that go through the back of my head. And they're not mean thoughts, but it's like, oh man, this is your first race, or you're going to regret that later. So I have my own list of things of like do's and don'ts for race weekends, just based on things that I've seen at HYROX and DEKA Fit events. But I wanted to ask Cheryl, what are your do's and don'ts for HYROX racing? And for anybody listening, if you want to write in.
Is this for travel or for racing in general?
For traveling to a race, do's and don'ts for race day, like travel. So we're talking airports, we're talking hotels, we're talking wearing your race shoes as you walk through the mud to the venue, things like that. And I thought, if we got listeners who want to write in like their biggest like race weekend mistakes, that would be some interesting commenting too. So Cheryl, I'll pass it to you first. What do you got?
I haven't even had a chance to think about this, and I'm very intrigued about what you're going to say.
Let me give you my first one then. That I think is extremely valuable. And that is because you said shoes. So there's airport shoes, race shoes, right? And then I like to pack what I call hotel shoes, which is a pair of Crocs. Now, you might think, what's the big deal? I can just put my shoes, like when you want to run downstairs to get a extra key or a coffee or whatever. And to me, putting socks and shoes on is a big pain. And I don't like putting my bare feet in my shoes because then it pulls out the fucking tongue. So packing those Crocs or whatever you have, sandals, flip-flops, as that extra pair, it means when you run down to the lobby to do anything, it takes 2 seconds. And I'm always so glad I did it. I'm always so glad I packed that thing. Now you can go, Cheryl.
Wait, so you need just a pair of shoes for the hotel. You can't just throw on the shoes you came to the airport in.
If I have to put on, no, because I have to put on my socks. And sometimes you don't want to put on your socks to run downstairs for 1 second.
Gotcha. I kind of tend to wear my socks in the hotel because, you know, it's a hotel and you don't know it's.
Do you sleep with your socks on?
No, I mean, I take them off then because
Right.
I would hate that. So yeah, shoes are kind of an important one. I mean, I think, and I will say, I used to be the kind of person that I thought, oh, I don't need to have like specific race shoes, but you kind of do. Like, look, you spend all this time training for these races, and then just to have it be messed up by what you're wearing and your nutrition, like those I think are the two big ones, and where you're staying. I think those are the, if I was to say, you know, you asked me what my do's and don'ts, those are the three, right? So I do pack my own race shoes and I don't wear them except at the venue. I'm really, really careful about that because you get a bunch of junk all over them and they slip. And there's too many things in these events where you need to have good grip on your shoes and have really good race shoes. So shoes are really important. I have a pair of just like sneakers, like running sneakers, that those are like my airport slash, you know, just go everywhere shoes. They're cute enough that I can kind of wear them anywhere. But then if I need to go for a shakeout run, that's what I'm wearing. I'm not going to wear my race shoes even doing that. So I'm really careful. I'm really careful. Yeah.
This is yet another reason. This is yet another reason that one less thing to pack, because for OCR, you're packing a whole nother pair of shoes because they're going to get covered in mud. You certainly can't wear those to the airport or around the hotel.
Yeah. So, but it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. Like I only wear these for the race. So it was similar to OCR where I just had my Solomons in a plastic bag, you know, and they were only for that event. And then everything else I would wear different. But yeah, you do need like flip-flops or something. So I will concede the Crocs. How about that? I'll concede the Crocs. And maybe I will.
I'm just telling you what's important to me.
Yeah,
and these are just the things that I've learned.
I may decide on a cute pair of Crocs, even though that doesn't actually exist. So I will find something though that will be similar. But where you stay, I actually think if you want to save, you know, all these places are in cities, right? Which I kind of like it was better than OCR where you're having to like fly to a city and then drive 2 hours to get to a venue and hope that there's a hotel nearby or whatever. I really like the fact that these are in the cities. I always pick the closest, most, like I pick a hotel that's got a kitchen in it. So if I can, so that I can have my own food, because bringing my own food is super important. I've got my protocols the night before the race and the day of the race where I pack all that food and I bring it. So those would be my three: is the hotel, the shoes, and the food.
I just want to point out that one AZ Bev, Elite 15 athlete, says, yes, Matt, Crocs are a must. Pool, lobby, sauna, even a bike ride in the hotel gym. So worth it. You think, why should I pack this extra pair of Crocs? And then you do it and you're so happy. At least I am. So Cheryl and I spoke. So Cheryl and I spoke a couple weeks ago about this whole concept of where you draw the line. And listen, if you're counting pennies and money's tight, then do whatever you need to do. But if you got the funds, spend the extra 50 or 100 or more for a better flight and a better hotel. Because again, I learned once again the hard way, right? And again, now that it's with, if you it's almost foolish to rent a car for any HYROX because you're gonna have to pay for parking. So why not just stay close and Uber, right? And so rather than Ubering further with a cheaper hotel, it's all gonna come out in the wash. Stay closer. Now, Cheryl and I talked last week and how I said I'm always gonna stay as close as possible, except for Chicago, where they really jack them up. And I'm just not quite there yet. Maybe next year, but this year I'm not at Sable prices. I'm not quite ready for that.
And there are enough hotels close enough.
Yeah, it's just plenty within a mile, right? You can walk. And again, you think, oh, it's not that far. I can just take a quick Uber, and that ends up taking longer than you think. So yeah, if you can stay a mile or under and get that, 20-minute walk in. What about you, Greyson? What are your must-haves?
Man, I got a few, and you guys kind of nailed the big ones about travel. I think is making sure you got a flight that's going to get you there with plenty of time. Rental cars are kind of a waste. In the HYROX or in the Spartan world, like rental cars were
You had to.
everything, right? Because you're gonna like land, you're gonna drive forever, and then there's like a whole like world of people driving these muddy cars back to the rental areas. Remember all that? The car's like trashed. But you don't need a rental car for HYROX. Get a spot that's close. I think one of my best tips comes from like the moment I pack my bag in my house before I even leave, and I do my race shoes with my race socks in one shoe and my race shorts in another shoe. And that kit stays with me no matter where I go on the weekend. So too many times you'll see people who will, if say you're gonna do like a carry-on bag plus my personal bag plus my, like, some people check a bag. The thing that is with you the most is where your race clothes need to be. There's nothing worse than showing up with like one shoe or no shoes or no shorts. And I think that's true even like if I'm gonna walk from the venue or from my hotel, I'm gonna go watch a friend race early in the morning or watch an athlete race. And I think like, well, I'm gonna go back to my hotel and get some food and then come back for my race. My race shoes are still in my bag and with me at all times. Cause you don't know, right? Like time might go by and you're like, oh crap, I actually need to warm up for my race in 1 hour. Or you're gonna get there to the registration line and that registration line is 300 people long. Like, oh, now I can't get back to my hotel. I don't have my shoes, don't have my socks, don't have my shorts. I keep that bag with me everywhere I go. I'm ready to race at all times.
I like that.
I learned that with my podcast equipment. I'd be like, oh, I'm just going down. I don't need this until the elites aren't running till later. And then, of course, I'll be there all fucking day and forget. And then like 10 minutes before the race starts, be like, oh, fuck, I got to go back to the room. So, yeah, I even though it's heavier to carry my stuff, I tend to now, like if I leave my hotel at all, I'm bringing I'm bringing what I need. I think that is excellent advice. Because again, yeah, like you think you're going to make a couple trips, and the least trips you make, the better, and the closer you are, the better.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Question: how much thought do you put into what you're going to wear on race day? Because you guys just throw on a pair of shorts. Like you don't need to think about this, but I feel like we girls really have to think about it.
Something my wife said to me out loud after the first station, okay? We do a run, we do the ski erg, we're back starting the run again, and it's overcast. It rained most of the day. It wasn't even that hot. She said, I will never judge any of these people ever again that wear no clothes while they're racing.
Yeah.
I have never been comfortable wearing a sports bar and shorts. I am dying. This is ridiculous.
Yep. Thermal management all the way.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, why are people so fucking stupid? And they're like, every guy at HYROX takes his shirt. Like, why are people so stupid? Why is this such a concept to get? I just don't understand it.
Because they haven't run it yet.
But I mean, like, it's like we've been doing an OCR for a decade anyway, and CrossFitters do it all the time. I just don't. Anyway, it's just sorry.
All right. So Greyson, do you have just the same pair of shorts, or do you think about it? Do you have to think about what you're bringing?
I think guys have to think about it a lot less. I'm always packing. Like, so I might be in town for 2 days and I've got 5 pairs of running shorts with me though, because you've got your shakeout shorts, your walk around town shorts, and then I always have 2 pairs of race shorts with me. So that's pretty simple though. I know that women have to think a lot more about it. Cheryl, this is actually the second show where you've talked about racing outfits, and I feel like you should maybe do a deep dive and just let us know your thoughts.
Oh, I don't think there's anything deep about my outfit obsession when it comes to the racing. I will say I have to have shorts that have a pocket in them for fuel, right? Like that's hands down. But then everything else, I've got to feel cute. Like I've got to feel like I'm looking good, because there's definitely stuff that's practically the right thing to wear. And if I don't feel cute, then I'm just not going to run as fast. And so I don't know if other girls are that way or not, but I really do.
Have you seen any women's doubles teams racing? I'm pretty sure they're aware.
Oh
of it.
Man,
they are extremely cute and are hot.
In DC, that first wave that came out, it was probably 80 women coming out of that start tunnel with all the sparkly matchy outfits. It was absolutely spectacular. It was just gorgeous. And yeah, I just think we think a lot about it, and certainly there's a practical level to it, but there's something about just the look of this sport that you have to kind of show up for. So my husband and I, he says, all right, have you found your prom dress yet for what you're wearing for, this next race? And so we do a little prom dress and, we lay it all out and sort of try it out. And every time it's different, but yeah, it's gotta be something.
Yeah, I hear that. This takes me to one of my other tips. And I'll start with a story from high school. When I was in high school, and track and field, I was one of those guys that actually raced in like a singlet. So not just shorts and a tank, but like a wrestling singlet, like speed suit. And they looked terrible, but we thought they looked really good. And me and the guys on the relay team, we'd put our singlets on. This is embarrassing, like freshmen, sophomores in high school. We'd put our singlets on and like in the morning before we went to school and like got those things on and then put our clothes on over the top. And then when we would pass each other in the hallway, we'd like lift our shirt up and be like, we'd be like, you ready? Like, yeah, man, I'm ready. You ready? Like, yeah, I'm ready. And now I would never in my life put on compression shorts and wear them for like 9 hours before a race. But if you watch, you're going to walk like to your hotel breakfast and you can scan the room and see who's running HYROX that day because of the amount of matching outfits that are already on. Like they might be racing way later tonight, but those matching outfits are on, baby. So my next tip would be like, don't put on your race gear till you get into the venue because you want to feel, for me personally, I want to feel fast in my race gear. Like when I put it on, it's game time. Other than that, my clothes are loose and cozy and I'm feeling
You want to kind of suit up.
Yeah, but I think I think that's one of the great things about the stuff that we do is like, meeting random people, right? Because I think travel lends itself to that anyway. You're sitting next to someone either in an airport lobby or in having hotel breakfast. And so if they're wearing a shirt, right, and you just start talking to them, and it's great, especially when it's their first one, right? You're like,
that's true. That's
whether
very
it's
true.
Spartan, it might be their first Spartan or their first Beast, and you're like, oh, I've done this one before, and they're like, oh, really? And they're all nervous, and I'm like, oh, you don't need that, you're fine. Or like talking to someone, and like, if they don't know me, they're probably pretty new, right? So we just start talking, and I'm like, is this your first one? They're like, yeah, my son got me into it. You just start having a conversation, and it's great.
Totally. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think there's other markers for that. I guess after the race, when people are wearing their HYROX merch, that's actually pretty cool. I like that. I like that people are walking around their HYROX gear. So, man, I like meeting people. And I get when you can look out and you can see like, hey, there's a team, no problem. In terms of like a comfort and like a racing ability thing, I'm not putting on my race uniform until right before.
Well, and I'll say my big mistake in DC, I don't know what I was thinking when I was packing, but I didn't pack a decent set of warm-up gear. Like to sort of have that on. And I think that I am now amending. I'm going to go shopping for Crocs now, but I have been sort of figuring out, all right, what's my warm-up kit to be able to sort of have that loose kind of warm, and you still look like an athlete, right? Like you can still tell what you're going to be doing, but it is different than the actual race gear.
Well, you talked about packing, and I am a notorious overpacker. And I didn't even tell you the fucking story of me trying to find fucking socks and underwear in Scotland. But like, if it's a 5-day trip, that's 10 pairs of boxers. And I'm just telling you that I don't like to run out of boxers. So
just in case, is this a just in case kind of thing?
Well, so if it's a day, right, you might wake up and wear regular whatever, and then shower and meet someone for dinner, and that's another pair of boxers. You see what I'm saying? And then I want to sleep in a pair. I might want a brand new pair for that. That's the most. What is more important than I'm comfortable, right? To me, that's like number one. So that's
Your bag is just underwear. The whole bag of underwear.
Here's the good thing. It's light.
The whole sport is just
boxers
underwear.
are very light, so you can and same thing with t-shirts, right? Like if it's a 3-day trip, I really only need 3 or 4 t-shirts. I will probably pack 8 or 9. I just that's some people are underpackers and they're great, and they're like, I only need 1 bag. I'm like, good for you. I have 2 bags and I'm usually packing and I'm usually checking one.
I remember hearing Bracken Crocker talked about one time. He used to. I think most people here know who we're talking about, right? Spartan Pro member for a really long time, running public podcast. We know Bracken, a commentator on a lot of things. He talked about years ago how when he would travel to Spartan races, sometimes he would just travel with like his race shoes, a pair of race shorts, and like maybe some sweats. He'd take 1 shirt because he knew he was getting a clean shirt at the end of the
Okay.
race. And so he would take his dirty shirt, put it in his backpack, put the clean shirt on, get on the airplane, and go home. That's a light packer,
Yeah,
man.
I wish I could be that efficient. I dream. I tested myself for November Chicago, the one where I was sick and in the room almost the whole time, where I just gotten this Built for Athletes bag, and I thought, let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can do the one bag trip, and I did it. I pulled it off because it was a short trip. They actually have a thing in the bottom for your shoes. I don't know if you know that, in the Built for Athletes bag, and I pulled it off, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just be comfy. And I just bought, rather than checking a bag, since we're doing lots of international travel now, and I just don't want to risk losing it. I just bought a smaller suitcase. So now I just have a small suitcase or two small what do I have now? Yeah, big suitcase I'll only use for the overseas trips. Anyway, I'm just an overpacker. What can I say? Including the 3 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Those of us who listened to a lot of Bracken Crocker, he was really rolling the dice with just packing that light. Like there may have been times he needed more than that.
Well, if you don't race in a shirt, right? You probably race shirtless, and then you finish, and you get to the. I mean, listen, if you're the first elite finisher of the day, you're probably going to get a shirt. At the end of the day is when they run out of shirts and medals. If that's what you're referring to.
That's true. That's true. Okay, can I dive into some highly elite pre-race tips here? Like I got some good stuff. This is what I've been thinking about. HYROX is going to have a bag check. And now recently for the warm-up areas, they're not letting you take a bag into the warm-up area, right? Early on, you would watch like elite athletes would be like, I'll do what I want. I'll just carry my bag in here. We'll make a circle of our bags and we'll do our stuff. Now they've got someone watching the entryway, right? They got someone saying no bags in here. So the game has changed in terms of what you're taking into the warm-up area. Let me give you some tips. You want your shorts. Obviously, you need shorts. You got to have your race shoes already on. And before you go into the warm-up area, you've got to have your timing chip. You see people going in and out all the time, like, oh, crap, where's my timing chip? That's the last thing you want to be worrying about in the venue, right? So when I get my timing chip, I have an important pocket in my bag, and that is like the timing chip pocket. It goes in, it zips, that's where it is. I don't put it on too early because I'm worried that like I'm going to like knock it off somewhere when I'm walking around the venue. But so now it's time for me to go into the warm-up area. If I'm going to check my bag, boom, timing chip is on. I'm going to have already pre-purchased a water bottle that I am ready to lose. Because if you take your nice water bottle into the warm-up area, there's no chance you're going back for it. Like you're going to forget it for sure. But you're going to get that mad cotton mouth feeling when you're in the warm-up area. So here's my game plan. I'm going to go shorts, shirt, timing chip. My shirt is going to be one that I'm also okay with losing. Recently, it's been I'll use like a Kilgore coaching shirt because I think like if I forget it and someone picks it up,
free marketing.
Now that like now someone's got my Kilgore coaching shirt, and then I'm going to take that disposable water bottle, which I don't like to use very many of those. Boom, and I'm going to take that into the warm up area with me, so when I get cotton mouth, I can drink that. And if I forget to go back for it, I didn't lose my my nicer bottle.
Do you just buy a bottle?
What do you think of that, Cheryl?
Buy a bottle of water, or you actually purchase a water bottle that you will then lose?
Like just a plastic one.
No, just like a plastic bottle. Yeah. I'm good at losing water bottles.
I need to distinguish what you're saying. A bottle of water or a water bottle?
A bottle of water. I like to. Yeah, if I'm gonna get specific, I like to get the smart water, the tall, skinny one that actually fits in your cup holders. That one. That's the one I'm going to lose.
Yeah, I'm definitely scanning the area for a shirt. That would be like, this could be our little treasure hunt every time, Greyson. We could just all look for your shirt and try to snag it.
And I just leave
I have a Graham Halliday Elite 15 shirt from, I want to say DC, and I messaged him and I said, "You want this?" And he's like, "No." And so like, I'm not really a tank top guy though, so I don't really wear it. I'm a very hairy person, and so like tank tops just look kind of awkward on me.
You can hang it up next to one of your flags. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, when I build the office, I'll just hang it up next to the flag.
Okay, so Greyson, I have a question about the warm up area, because I will say you weren't in DC. DC, the warm up area was incredible. Tons of equipment, tons of space. There was a restroom right there. Like you could go through that door past the security guard and you were set. Like they had water. There was this nice lady. It was wonderful. But half the time, like, I don't know if you remember Anaheim last year, but there was nothing. Like it was this tiny, tiny little area. No real place. If I I usually have to spend a fair amount of time running to get warm, to get warmed up.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
one of those machines for that long. Like that's just not going to be in the cards because there are so many people trying to warm up. So do you warm up at all before you even drop your bag, or do you just trust that the warm up area is going to be enough? And are you just elite enough that you can be like, yeah, I'm taking this equipment. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do it. Like, how does that work for you? And how should that work for us?
Oh, I love this question. Now we're leaning into like my profession, right? We're leaning into coaching questions, which I love. I think a person's got to have all their running done. They're like slow jog done before they get into the warm up area. So if I was going to prescribe a great warm up for someone, it starts super slow, easy running, just moving your body. And I'm gonna be the weirdo doing that like up and down the hallways of the convention center or somewhere outside. And I'm going to do that with like my actual bag still somewhere like nearby so that I can get my hydration belt and all of the stuff I'm going to be taking mid race. I want access to that still, but I don't necessarily want to put it on yet. So I'm going to do a 20-minute jog somewhere around the venue, just real slow, just like I'm really not trying to waste any energy. I'm just trying to get a sweat going. After that, drop the bag, hit the warm up area. And that's where I go into like what I call like a priming sequence, where when I do get a chance to get on the assault runner, I'm doing some quicker pickups and actually getting into actual like running stride. And same thing on the ergs. You're not going to see me in the warm up area like chilling on an erg and just like going slow and talking. Usually I'm going to like try to replicate race pace on the ergs. And then I'm going to pick up the kettlebells. I'm going to pick up the sandbag. But all of that is like the priming sequence of like it's go time. It's time to be fast. I don't really do anything slow in the warm up area.
So how long does that usually take you in the warm up area? Like how long are you on an erg priming that system?
So it kind of depends. Like, so maybe the first time I touch it, I'll go maybe 300 to 400 meters at race pace just to just start feeling something and actually get a real sweat going and say, okay, this is race pace. When I'm coaching athletes about like how to really prepare for a hybrid race, I want to tell them, look, like your brain is going to get these alarm bells that go off at some point in the race to say, stop, this is stupid. I want to trigger that response before the race even starts. So the second time I get on an erg, I'm going to rip on it I'm going to go 500 meters, a little faster than race pace until I'm like on the edge of like a potential, like not really like lactate threshold, but like a lactate buildup to the point where the alarm bells start to say like, whoa, this is hard. And then I'm going to stop and chill. I'm going to get in my own head a little bit and say, this is race pace. I'm fine. I'm comfortable with this pace. Nothing's going to stop me. So I think the priming sequence also involves saying like getting the nervous system ready to fight.
Would you recommend that for anybody, or like would you, like if I said to you, so my I want to say quickly, my horrible 5K that I just had, you missed earlier. I told you I did like a 6-minute worse 5K than I did in October. And the thing I thought about was like, cause like I ate cake before it, right? But then like, have you seen that? Have you seen that? It was my birthday. So have you seen that video where it's like, how are you feeling today? And the girl's like, awful. It's like a recorded thing, and people have done it. It's like, did you drink any water? No. Did you get any sleep? No. Did you meditate? No. Did you gratitude? No. Like that was me. Like before that 5K, it's like, did you warm up? No. Yeah. Did you eat good? No. Did you drink enough water? Yeah. No. Like, so typically I kind of have my half-ass runner stretches I do before a race. Yeah. Cheryl, who is my my partner in Vegas, I was like, I'll run with you. We did some slow jogs and we did some pickups, right? And that was great.
Yeah.
You're very intense. Like, let me do this. Let me get above race. Like, would you prescribe that, I guess? Or do you think that's only for the elite? Because to me, that like sounds like, dude, my heart rate's going to be too spiked and I'm going to be fucked if you do that to me before the race.
Sure. Cheryl, what do you think?
Well,
make a prediction there.
To bring up Bracken Crocker's name one more time. He talks about if you don't have a whole lot of time to warm up, you at least try to touch the energy systems that you're going to be using, at least really quick.
Yeah.
And I'll say, I kind of ran through, I did what you did where, slow running. And then I went into the warm up area, and I wasn't doing like 300, 400 meters. I was doing like 100, 200 meters,
Yeah.
but just real quick race pace just to touch that, so that you kind of, you sort of prime your system so that mentally and physically you're kind of ready for it. It worked great. Like I felt really, and then on the assault runner for some pickups, right? Like just to, do 30-second sprints or whatever. I mean, you're either, my coach says, Rich Ryan says, you're either going to feel terrible at the beginning of the race, or you're going to feel terrible during the warm up, right? So you might as well feel terrible during the warm up, because then the race starts and you're kind of ready to go.
Totally. So
Matt,
I think you're dead on. I will sometimes prescribe shorter warm-ups for people who are going to be out there for an hour and 40 minutes to 2 hours, because they're probably not starting out that hot, and they're going to warm up into the experience. And if they're out there for an hour 40, a 30-minute warm-up is just now like a lot of extra work, right? So the warm-up that I just talked about for me is with the intent of running like 57 minutes, right? So I need to be ready to like go guns blazing, going out hot from the line. There's a lot of people that should not go out hard from the line, right? So if you're a person who's saying like, I'm going to be out there for an hour 30 or longer, I might prescribe an easier warm up where, you don't jog too much, maybe jog a little, feel loose, and then go in and get your hands on the equipment in the warm up area, feel out everything. And that's more of a confidence boost, right? So feel what the kettlebells are like, feel the sleds, feel the ergs, all of that. And then get loose, feel good, and then say, all right, well, I got a 1K here. I'm going to really get warm. So that warm up might be a lot shorter. It might be 10 to 15 minutes and then ready to roll.
Just touch on that. And I will say, Matt, the reason why we didn't go in and touch the ergs and get all that done is because you were talking to people, and we both said, hey, let's go use the bathroom. And we got out of the bathroom. I thought you were still in the bathroom, and I waited for you for like 15 minutes, and you were already down there talking to people. So we didn't have our normal warm up. That's why you don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Because we definitely did our little pickups up and down the hallway there.
Yeah.
And then, I forgot what happened after that.
You got to talking to people. You like took off on me, and I didn't know where you were. And I was standing there with Dave, like, "Where's Matt?" He's like, "Oh, he's already downstairs."
So do you touch sleds at all, Greyson, or you just do the ergs and the assault run?
Don't you touch each station just a little bit? You just kind of prime the legs and prime the, do a couple lunges and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a couple things this is actually turning into a great podcast for first timers. That this is like really good information.
We need to have
because the sandbags, the sandbags that they're going to put in the warm up area are never the right weight. So don't read the sandbag and think, oh, this is going to be it, because they put all the sandbags with the holes in it, like in the warm up area. So when you pick that up, take that with a grain of salt. And as we talked about last time we were on, when we're talking about like sled turf, the sleds move a little bit easier in the warm-up area, and you're kind of in charge of putting your own weight on the sled. They're not always race weight. So when I get on a sled, I'm going to pull it just a little bit to feel that initial factor of like, here's what my sled technique looks like. And I've got that dialed down to like how many steps I'm taking per box, and when I'm going to keep my arms straight and when I'm going to start bending those things. So some of that is technique focus and just kind of locking in mentally. But there's other things that are just like, are not necessary. Like I'll go up to the kettlebells for the farmer's carry, and I'll pick them up and go, yeah, I can do this, and just set them back down.
We have a great question for you, Greyson. Great question, which is from Corey Farina. Maybe a weird question, but can you talk about damper settings? Does Greyson put them to 10? ?
Man, Cheryl, do you want to go first on this one? Actually, I know I'm a coach, but you're a skilled athlete, so you first then.
Relatively new at this, so I don't have any expertise to really offer, except that
You've done 20 HYROX races and you're a world champion. What are you talking about?
So
yeah, exactly.
I have experimented enough with the ergs to know that 3 is way too low for me. I don't get enough pull on it, and 8 is way too high. I usually settle in at around 5, and I think everybody's got to kind of feel that out. But 10 is never. I go into my gym and it's always set to 10, and I'm like, what are they doing? What do they think that's helping them with? I just, if the goal is to move the meters as fast as you can, It's got to be more of a mid-range setting. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's different, a little bit different for DEKA Fit than it is for HYROX. If you take apart a ski erg or a rower, the damper setting is literally just changing how much air is getting into the fan, right? So when it's on 10, it's letting that thing suck up as much air as possible and increasing the resistance. And the lower you put it, it kind of seals off the vent so that you're getting less air into that fan. So really, there's nobody in HYROX powerful enough or fit enough to need to like put their damper setting above a 7. And here's why: the Erggs are an ego trap for everybody. If you go out hard on the ski, that's really dumb. If you think like, man, I'm gonna really send it on the row, and I have athletes tell me this all the time. They're like, well, I'm really good at the row, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pace my burpees, I'm gonna pace my lunges, I'm gonna punch it on the row. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that, because you're gonna have no juice to punch it on the row.
I'm gonna give you something I just watched, whose content I watch a lot, which is the world record holder on the Erggs. Okay, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I just watched this guy who actually like the 2K world
James
record
Hall.
holder. Yeah.
So I watch a lot of his stuff, and I was showing Stacy because I was talking about like, this is where I've learned a lot of my stuff. Where the fuck did it go? Hang on.
You want to stay above the fan, okay? You want to stay ahead of the fan. So if I'm pulling it down, I basically want to hear, I want to go with my leverage, and then I want to hear the fan. So it's go, whoosh, okay? Listen to the fan. It keeps going longer than me. So I go, and then the fan will go whoosh, and then it will slowly come back down. Okay, if the fan's too heavy and I'm not strong enough, I can't get ahead of it, so I'm constantly staying with it. And if it's too heavy, it's going to pull me out of socket.
That's good.
Okay, so I get pulled down, I'm then waiting for it, and I can't get that overspeed I want on the fan. Okay, if it's too heavy, you won't get the fan going whoosh. And that's what you need, because the fan will keep running as you recover for your next one. If you can't get that whoosh, the fan will just flatline and it won't give you any power. Okay, so if you're big and strong and it's a short duration, you can get away with high drag. But most people, HYROX, you come off the drag to keep that fan spinning. Okay, so gents around about 8 or 9 is plenty. Okay, ladies.
He's a good coach, man.
He's the best in the world. So, so he's awesome. And what I see people do, which I saw from him on a previous one, is they pull down to here, and you're getting nothing down here. The spin of the fan is all between here and here. And so that's why you're stopping here, right? And not here. Like I just saw a guy doing it at this place we were at on Sunday. He'd never done it before. Big, tall guy, and he was just yanking that fucking thing. And I was like, "Hey, man, you could stop here and you'll be fine." So yeah, watch his videos. But I still think 7.8 is too high for me personally. He said if you're a big, strong guy, I'm not a big, strong guy. So
he's also not racing a HYROX.
No, he was talking about HYROX.
Yeah,
he was talking about HYROX.
Okay.
He said,
what's your damper setting?
But there's that's the short answer is 6. Here's the deal. You're not going to get, if you're racing HYROX correctly, you're not going to get the Erggs with any of your big, strong guy energy anymore. You don't have the juice. Nobody does. So like I had the chance in Anaheim, I was so fortunate to be on the rower next to Hunter McIntyre, the king of the Erggs in HYROX, right? And we're talking about the biggest, baddest dude that touches an Ergg. And he like settled in at like a 146 to 147 pace for a while on that Ergg. Damper setting of like maybe a 7. He's not on there at like a 10, ripping a 132 pace, right? So if Hunter's not doing that, if Hunter's not at a 10, ripping a 132, nobody is, because you don't have the juice in your legs. So set it at a 5 or a 6. Like Mr. Hall said, staying ahead of the fan is a great cue, and do it that way.
I sat down for my row in DC and I was pretty gassed. There was this woman that I could not catch her. She was just killing me. And she was like 2 or 3 down from me because there were some other women who had gotten in before us from another heat. And I just made a decision. I just needed to make a decision about where I normally race. And I looked at the woman next to me, and she was rowing like a good 10 seconds ahead of me.
Is this
as far
the
as
Australian lady?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I couldn't see what she was rowing. She actually ended up rowing about the same as me. Like I didn't lose any time on her from that. But the woman next to me was just going gangbusters for what? The first 45 seconds, right? And then all of a sudden she just lost it all. And it is the row especially is just the place where you find a pace, you just check the box. You don't try to be a hero there, right?
Absolutely. In our in like my old running days, track and field, cross country, a good coach would tell you when you're exhausted that they say go to your form, go to your technique.
Yeah.
And that's where if you're out of juice, you got to get very technically proficient, right? In the row is where that happens. And the row is like if you want to separate from the pack on the row, you've got to go to really like straight arms, legs first, use your backswing, and be a very technically proficient rower if you want to hang on to those paces. You're talking about producing power in the most efficient ways possible.
Brian the Ginger thinks that 10 is for DEKA teams, Fast and Furious. Would you agree with that, Kilgore? I forgot your first name for a minute, Greyson.
No, you're fine. I've definitely seen some people do that. My situation is a bit different because the only team racing I do is with Katie, and she doesn't really touch the ergs. So I'm actually doing the whole like row or ski myself for the most part. So I'm still hanging at like a 6 or a 7.
I don't know why you would ever.
I'm just going to pull.
That's my thought.
Yeah, man. I think what Mr. Hall is talking about, like bigger, more power-based athletes are going to creep that damper setting up a little bit. But I'd be really curious to see like who's actually effective at a 10, because first of all, if you're rowing with a damper setting at a 10 in DEKA, I think it might come back to bite you later on when you should be like, if you're rowing at a 10, you should probably be doing your bike in like 15 seconds. And there's only like one person who's doing that, right? So in terms of racing and pacing strategy, I don't know if you should be working that hard on the ergs, but I've never done a real like men's doubles DEKA strong where you might have two massive people, cranking 118 pace the whole time. So my experience might be limited there.
I also think that it's just a matter of testing. I mean, I think, to everybody's point, you're working really hard when you're working teams. And so figure out what that hard work looks like. I did a test about, this was right before Vegas. I was doing a 1 minute on, 2 minutes off on the ergs where I just, right.
Awesome.
And that allowed me enough recovery that I was able to play with the damper settings and just see, all right, how many meters do I get when I'm on a 3? How many meters do I get when I'm on an 8? Like I was able to within that minute see what it was actually doing for me. And then I found my number, so then I was able to sort of decide, okay, this is going to be the most efficient. And then I could just go for it at that damper setting.
Sure. I think damper setting is important, but strokes per minute might be more important. I think one of the biggest mistakes you see on the ergs is people taking way too many reps on the handles when you should practice getting more proficient for each pull and not taking so many reps. Think about the difference on a 1,000-meter row, the difference between rowing at a 28 strokes per minute cadence and a 42 stroke, it adds up to be a lot of extra reps by the end of that time. So people should probably, I've heard great coaches say that on the row, you should be hanging out like around 30 strokes per minute, and really, really great CrossFitters are at like 27 to 28 strokes per minute on a rower.
Cool.
Is that?
We're in deep,
I know,
man.
right? How did we get here?
To this training stuff and racing content, man.
So do you want to tackle what you're hyped about, Greyson, or you want to save that for next week?
Oh, well, now I want to know.
Ooh, man. Oh, so I was suggesting like I was like, here's some like segments.
No, I know I'm saying, but like we're at an hour 20. We could wrap it up this week, or if you really want to talk about what you're hyped about, we could talk about what you're hyped about. I guess I shouldn't say it like that. It's kind of a tease.
No, it's good. It could be like a little bit of a teaser for what's to come. This segment is called the hybrid hype, things that Greyson's excited about. And
So, okay, I want to quickly say that somebody said, somebody messaged me and said, "Is Greyson really that positive?" And I said, "Yes."
Yeah.
They mentioned your toothy grin, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've known people who try to fake it." I said, "But Greyson's the real deal. He really is that positive." So anyway, let's hear what you're hyped about.
Oh man, that's a kind answer. That's a kind answer. All right, time for the hybrid hype. DEKA SoCal is in 2 weeks, and guess what? That's a sold out event. We haven't seen a sold out DEKA event. What's it going to be like? How many people?
Apparently, somebody told me I was wrong when I said that, though. So I forgot what that was, but I said. Somebody correct me on that. Was it Needham? Somebody said, "Oh no, they have sold out before." Not that I was aware of.
I don't remember them selling out.
Me neither, man. I don't think I've ever seen a sold out event. And I think the most exciting thing is the most dynamic and versatile hybrid athlete in the world is going to be there, Lauren Weeks, who is one of the top athletes in the world that races DEKA, and she does HYROX, and she dominates both. And I've been on podcasts before and lots of conversations with people like, Greyson, how does someone train for HYROX and for DEKA? They say it's hard. And they say there's only one person who's doing it well, or really, really well, Lauren Weeks. So she's going to be there anytime she races. That's exciting. She's always breaking her own records. So I'm going to be down there. It's going to be a sold out event. It's exciting. I'm hyped about it. So maybe we can talk more about like upcoming race lineups and who's going to be in those races as we get closer. So maybe this is a teaser to the hybrid hype, but that's what I'm excited about.
We got 2 weeks.
At the same time that you're there, I will be in Miami for the second or third doubles Elite 15 race. And there is definitely some spicy teams there, including one I just found out about that I'm not sure I can mention yet.
Ooh,
that doesn't help us.
Exciting.
Sorry.
Oh, what?
Well, I've been talking about them. I posted about them the other day. I made a little news of the week video, which I plan on doing every week. That one took a lot longer than I thought. But if you watch that video, okay, hang on.
It's got some names in there. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, bring it up.
Well, and let me just say for DEKA real quick though, Greyson. So, and this is the first DEKA clinic that you guys are doing. You guys are going to be doing that thing Friday night for those of us who sign up to get some tips like damper settings and things like that from you guys, right? So is that going to be fun, and will there be snacks, and it's going to be well attended?
I think we're at a bring your own snacks status right now.
I can do that.
But will it be fun? If I'm going to be there, the answer is clearly going to be yes. It's going to be a real good time.
Good.
So it's going to be sweet. Are you coming?
I signed up. No, of course I'm going to sign up for that. Yeah. No, I think
cool.
the sad part is Miami's probably going to eclipse that DEKA weekend. I think the DEKA weekends are super fun, right? And so I'm going to go to the clinic, and then I'm racing in the morning, and then I'm staying to judge for the athlete judge program, and then I'm probably going to rabbit the elites. Cool. So I'm just going to
You're just all in, Cheryl. You're all in on DEKA.
Cool. If you're going to go, do all the things, right? It's really the way to do it. I just think showing up and racing and going home is no fun at all.
Is it a 2-dayer?
No, just 1 day, but it's going to be just a big full day.
Jam-packed. So you're going to be 3 hours behind me. So the men don't race until 8:40, something crazy like that.
So like we'll be done. We'll be long done. We could watch the race.
So let's see. Hang on. I had to put up my calendar.
We'll be earlier that day though. So we'll be able to watch that. I'm sure we'll be hanging out at the venue watching that.
So the women race at 12:40. The men race at 8:40. So I'll be napping in between those at the Fairfield Inn, close to the venue.
Yeah, that'll be a long day.
Awesome.
But yeah, so that'll be what, 9:40 in the morning for us, Greyson, on West Coast time. So we'll all be able to watch it. We could have a watch party at the venue if people are hanging out.
When are you racing, Cheryl? What time?
I'm doing first thing in the morning, like 7:30 to 8 is my wave start.
When do the elite men and women run?
Afternoon.
Yeah, it's kind of kind of a big change for DEKA. I think for the first time ever, they're putting, and Katie and I were just talking about this. We were trying to figure it out. We were always able to race teams because we would do our individual races at 7 a.m., eat a sandwich, lay on the ground, get back up, and then race the team events. For this, I think the co-ed race is like 30 or 40 minutes after elite
For
women. Maybe someone can double check. Yeah, because I think both elite men and elite women are in the afternoon now, which is kind of a real bummer that races are doing that, in my opinion.
Well, I think they were just bummed that they would do these elite races and it's just like this big empty building.
Yeah.
So they don't have
there's a
for the age group or for the teams. It's just teams. Okay, and that elite women starts at 3 p.m. and the age group 2-person team starts at 3:45. So yeah,
not a lot of time.
So when are you volunteering, Cheryl? Did you say?
I think I've got like the 11 o'clock window because I wanted to make sure I was available to rabbit, just in case they needed a rabbit. Because I want to be in it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was going to say if you could stop and take a photo of the winning men and women, but
I will take the photos.
Well, but if you're working, if you're rabbiting for those guys, you would need like 2 phones then, though. So you might not be able to.
I don't know.
Do you have 2 phones?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'll be fine.
All right. We'll talk about it. All right. Well, listen. Let's wrap it up. Greyson, go. Is there still spots available for the what are you calling it? The workshop.
The DEKA Athlete Clinic, and yes, there is. We have spots for people to register. Get registered. It's gonna be sweet.
He's hyped. He's excited.
I'm hyped.
All right, keep bringing the hype. Thanks for